Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Nick Cage Fight podcast, where every once in a while, you gotta take that leap and agree to a strange task for a stranger in exchange for them fixing your car. The damage of which may have been contrived by that stranger themselves. Sometimes you just gotta dive in, man. Say yes to life. You know what I mean? I'm one of your hosts, Josh, joined as always by Rich and Ryan. How are we feeling tonight, guys?
I always let Ryan go first.
Oh, I was waiting for you to talk about Amaretto.
No, I always let Ryan go first because I feel like if I try to go first, we just talk over each other.
I mean, I knew you had something to say, so I just kind of.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, so yeah. I'm drinking my alcoholic coffee, which is just coffee, amaretto, a little bit of Kahlua, and a splash of peppermint schnapps. It's very delicious.
It sounds like a good coffee. I'll be honest with you.
I just have a nice little sipping scotch.
Ooh, what's scotch?
Got a Bruichladdich Port Charlotte 10-year from Islay.
I prefer scotches from there.
I like Islay and I like Speyside. Those are like the two regions that I quite enjoy. But it's nice.
I feel like an idiot right now. I'm just like, I like my scotches from Scotland.
Yeah, no, I don't go in for scotch too often. My celebratory drink, like when I'm a special occasion, is Lagavulin.
Oh yeah, I love a Lagavulin.
It's like drinking a campfire.
Oh, so good. I really like the Lafroig 10-year too for that exact reason. It's very smoky.
That is good too.
That's what me and Ryan were drinking, a Lagavulin 30 when the comic book store closed.
That's very true. Yeah.
I got it when I got married. That's a funny sentence. One of the only good things my ex-wife ever gave me was a Lagavulin 30 on our wedding day. And I was like, I'm going to save this for a special occasion. I'm sure.
And then the fucking comic book shop closes.
I'm sure that in her mind, it's like, oh, the 1-year anniversary or something like that. Is like, the comic book shop is closing. We're killing this bottle.
Yeah.
And we did.
But yeah, Amaretto. So we talking off air about the insanity of the old Di Serono commercials where people are in a nightclub ordering a cordial on the rocks, which is insane behavior. Just gonna say
it confused me for years as to what Di Serono was.
Yeah.
I assumed it was like some sort of whiskey. I never read the label until a month ago because I have it sitting just in my kitchen.
Yeah. It's like, oh, it's a fancy brown liquor. That's what adults drink. And then as an adult, if somebody ordered a Di Serono on the rocks in front of me at a club, I'd be like, I'm staying far the fuck away from this person.
This is a crazy kicking person. Their shins under the table until they bled.
But no, my favorite story about Amaretto is a friend of mine. We worked in a restaurant for a lot of years, and he was bartending for an event that was like, it wasn't like a wedding or anything like that. It was like an old lady party. It was for something, one of their events. Like,
was it a rowdy old lady party or was it a chaste old lady party?
It was a weird combination of both.
Yeah, was it like
I can't remember.
People doing needlepoint as they're throwing glass bottles against the wall.
Sort of.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was like the Red Hats. Do you know the Red Hat old lady club?
The Red Hat Society is, I believe, what they're called.
Is it just old ladies who go out and like drink together at fancy restaurants?
I never know
what their deal was.
Is there like a thing that I'm not just gonna look up the Red Hat Society real quick because I don't know if it's like a thing you have to be born into or like you have to get beaten in or something.
I'm assuming guys can't join. I only ever saw little old ladies.
Well, no, it says that it is for women, which is always going to be problematic.
Yeah, that's a fight American can have in the culture wars in the next 50 years.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway.
No, I want to have it now. Let's have like Caitlyn Jenner want to be a fucking Red Hat lady and just see where things land.
Yeah, no, that fight might already.
I was about to say I'd watch that fist fight.
Yeah, that fight might be brewing in corners of the world that we're just not a part of. But that would be interesting to see. So anyway, I think it was a Red Hat Society party. And I was shooting the breeze with my friend and coworker behind the bar when this little old lady came up. And she's like, "What's your cheapest liquor?" And my buddy's like, The one lady is paying. It's an open bar. The one lady's paying, and this lady also, she had a little bit of a speech impediment or weird pronunciation, because this is as close as I can get to doing an impression of this lady. Her eyes light up and she go, "Oh, she's paying? I will have your finest amaretto."
That's good.
And yeah, for years our joke was, "Give me your finest amaretto."
Elmer Fudd's
Also,
wife.
I don't know what the fuck your finest amaretto. It might be Di Serrano. That's the only name brand amaretto I'm familiar with.
I'm just gonna
there's a
I'm gonna
measure
type
of
in Google,
curiosity.
finest amaretto.
Finest amaretto.
None of these look fine.
One of them is Di Serrano.
But what? Yeah, like what's the Grand Marnier of amarettos? Because Grand Marnier is just absurdly expensive triple sec. I'm sorry, you're never going to convince me otherwise.
Knight Gabriello Santoni amaretto is.
Oh, okay. So we are probably at the same page. Keep scrolling down because they get more expensive.
Oh, I see. It starts at the bottom, and then you have to scroll down to get to the top.
It ends on It ends on Di Serrano, though. $32. But there was this one is 43. It's called Liars.
But like a stringed instrument, not like somebody that tilts
yes. Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
And it's funny because the label is a cat wearing a red hat.
Huh.
Oh, shit. Maybe that's what she was hoping for. All right. So we promised.
That cat looks like an old lady. It's got the big fucking sunglasses and everything.
Yeah.
So we did promise the listeners last time. We'll get to the exposition dump quickly. We've bullshitted about old ladies in amaretto, I think, enough. So let's jump.
Here's an ad break.
Not
quite yet.
We got it for him. We got it. Hold on.
12 more minutes.
So the groups sort of fracture a little bit here. Bubblegum and Bubblegum's boyfriend head off to the super fun room, I think is what it's called.
And they literally say, we're going to split up. It's like, haven't you ever seen a horror movie before? That's an awful idea.
Or a simple Scooby-Doo.
But like the funny thing is like in a horror movie, the teens aren't aware of the danger typically when they first split up.
But they know that there are.
But they all know what's fucking going on here, and they still act like idiots, which is just amazing. I love it. So the remaining teens, the rest of the crew, explain what's going on to a 100% disinterested Nick Cage. So they explain that he is a sacrifice, the last in a long line of drifters that this has been done to. And then we get a huge exposition dump. So the whole story, original Willy himself, the creator of this place, was a serial killer.
Jerry Robert Willis.
Imagine if Charles Entertainment Cheese was a serial killer. But more than that, all of the other people that he hired to work with this at this place are serial killers too. It's a whole gang of serial killers running a knockoff Chuck E. Cheese.
It's more or less like a subplot in that one Sandman story about the serial killers convention.
Yeah, it's very much like that.
Yeah.
Very, very much like that. Also,
yeah, but like they're also cannibals. Maybe.
I mean, that just seems natural. You got all those bodies around. You got to do something with them. Why a little filet mignon of human?
Also, I just realized that one of the tracks on the soundtrack of this is called Face Off.
Dope.
Fantastic. But real quick, before we get too far from the comic book reference, if we're talking about serial killers and comic books, I got to shout out Nail Biter, which was a series that I stumbled on that was actually pretty decent. The conceit was that this one small town ended up being like the birthplace of an absurd number of serial killers. And it's a pretty solid comic. I recommend it.
I've seen that floating around. I've been meaning to check that out, so I'll take that endorsement.
Check it out. You'll enjoy it.
I definitely will.
What these serial killers would do is they would take families to the super happy fun room, dress up as the animatronic cast, and then kill the family, which is hilarious. The killings eventually ended with a SWAT team busted. Like, enough people, enough families went missing, excuse me, to attract the attention of the authorities. And so the place gets swatted. And when the team busts in, they find all of the serial killers did, and this is almost verbatim from the exposition, did a satanic ritual and committed suicide.
It's fucking blacklight paint and everything.
It's so fucking bad in a way that is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
And they explain that, like, if you know anything about satanic rituals, this ritual was about transferring your consciousness from your body into something else.
Yeah, they called it like soul displacing or something.
Yeah. So this actually does bring up a question. Since they were dressing up like the animatronics to do the killings, where are those costumes? Because they jumped into the actual animatronics, but they would have had to have had some like costumes to get into to do the killings originally before they did the ritual.
Yeah, those costumes are in a serial killer museum. That's a roadside attraction that some true crime podcast is doing an episode about. But it's just amazing. So after that, this place was condemned, and Tex bought it and reopened it, but the animatronics started killing people, so they had to close again. And there is a hilarious scene where a young, slightly rotund child.
Oh, I was gonna bring this line up because it was the funniest line in the movie to me.
Is eyeballing Sarah Siren pretty heavily, and she looks down at him and goes, "Wanna fuck, fatty?"
Well, he goes in to cop a feel.
Oh, that's right. He's going to grope her.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And like the ostrich just takes a giant bite out of a kid in front of 100 people is very funny. Like, they are not sly about this.
It's good this place doesn't have the internet, because this story would have blown up immediately if anybody in this town knew what the internet was. Like I said, the exposition is bad, direct to the point, but so funny in the vein of the way this movie has played out so far. It had me cackling. So when I said in episode 1 that this is like a mishmash of classic horror tropes, this just made me think of, now, if you've only seen the recent iterations of this franchise, you probably won't understand this, but Child's Play. And it actually made me think about how fucking funny the core conceit to Child's Play was, because in the first several films, the whole bit is that a serial killer is in like a final confrontation with the cops, and as a last resort does a voodoo ritual spell to transfer his soul,
turns a doll into a phylactery, basically.
Exactly. And then the next several films in the franchise are him trying to do this to a real boy so he can be a human again. One of my favorite iterations is the one where the kid's in like military school.
Yes. That was so good. There's a lot of movies with little kids, like horror movies with little kid protagonists, where they end up in military school. They did it in The Omen. They did it in Child's Play. They did it in I think one of the Puppet Master movies.
Well, that's a whole trope. You have a traumatized kid who acts out. And so what is our answer for that? Send him to military school.
Yeah.
And there's your Sopranos reference for the day.
I was about to say, yeah, he's gonna be with AJ Soprano.
Yep. They did it in Malcolm in the Middle too.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, if we want to talk about a Masterson who wasn't just sentenced to prison for multiple rapes.
Oh yeah, that was a Masterson.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know they were related.
It becomes very apparent when you see them like next to each other.
Yeah,
like, oh shit, yeah, the resemblance is strong. So yeah, after the robots killed some kids in full view of a packed restaurant, the whole place had to close down again. So Willy convinced Tex to make a deal with the devil and not destroy this place for some reason. That's how it's stated, and despite all the exposition, this part is never explained. What the fuck is Tex getting out of this deal?
Not killed.
Yeah, I think what it
That's
is,
not a deal.
I
It's
think
just a threat.
I think that like she used deal with the devil like as a like you made a deal with somebody who sucks, which is like, hey, we'll give you these drifters if you don't leave the store and
Yeah.
don't kill us and the people that I care about.
So, but the only problem I have with using a euphemism like that is when you do it right after
talking about a satanic
explaining
ritual. Yeah.
that satanic rituals work in this world.
Oh, I get it.
Are recognizable enough that you could spot what spell was being cast. that shows a level of active magic systems in this world that people have some understanding of. So, maybe don't throw around colloquialisms like deal with the devil so quickly after that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is ridiculous. So the teens finally realize that Bubblegum and Bubblegum's boyfriend are missing from their crew. And so we cut to them. They are in the super happy fun room. And Bubblegum comments that this is it. This is where these guys killed, or these people killed all of these families.
And that makes her
she,
mega horny.
Of course. You have to have promiscuous teenagers in a horror movie. Otherwise you're just going against the tropes. Okay.
You're just spitting in the wind.
Yep. So Bubblegum is explicitly turned on by this. She puts on a happy birthday tiara and starts making out with her boyfriend. Bad birthday suit line here.
Yeah, and she doesn't even get naked. She's not in her birthday suit.
This almost fully clothed sex scene is rapidly incoming.
Which is another thing that made me think, oh, they're shooting for the PG-13. But this only aired in theaters, was shown in theaters in like a very limited quantity, to the point where it didn't even have to go through the ratings bureau for film, just for the TV one for streaming.
Yeah, that's odd.
Very odd.
So, I
mean, it's COVID's fault. It's a COVID thing. That's 100% what happened there.
So the other teens are still yelling at Nick Cage, who is ignoring them, and the animatronics start up with their birthday song again. And then this changes to an explicitly threatening song about the teens and Nick Cage.
It wasn't about Nick Cage. It was just about the teens, because they were saying like six little chickens, like 4 hens and 2 roosters or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I thought Cage was included in the count of the
No,
chickens.
because it's
well, you got.
I'm sorry. It was two hens,
6 chickens. So you got Pompadour, glasses,
Bubblegum's boyfriend, quirked up white boy,
Liz.
No. Those are the 2
She's
hens.
The hen.
She's one of the 2 hens, and then the 6 is Cage.
Yeah, so Cage isn't.
He's in the count.
There you go.
But isn't a hen just a female chicken?
Yeah, that's why the female.
Oh, okay.
That's why the girls are the hens.
Yeah, okay. I'm on board now. Sorry.
Okay.
You know what else you need to get on board with, Rich? Some ads.
What you should really get on board with is our patreon.com/Nick Cage Fight. And then you don't need to get on board with ads. You can say fuck ads.
You can stay off board the entire time.
Yeah, and like you can just listen to us tell you to buy some like black rhino dick pills.
Buy land. They're not making any more of it.
I don't know if they're going to be making too many more black rhino dick pills, so get them while getting's good before those lawsuits inevitably
specifically drop. Black Rhino 69.
Well, that's their best one.
That's their best one.
Yeah.
Don't get Black Rhino red. That shit'll just turn your dick red.
Sorry. I think you should leave reference, and his dick's redder than hell. Okay. So, did we pause for the ads?
We did not pause for ads.
Pause for ads. Pause for ads. Cut the mics. Jesus Christ. And we're back. Listeners, you almost got away with an ad break that never was right there.
I would have made it happen. I would have found a spot.
That would have been the worst. That would have been the first time we dropped the ball on that one. Really,
Yeah.
ad read and then no ad.
First time for everything.
You would have had to cut me off with "so anyway" before I launched back into the plot. So
No, I was just like, yeah, we'll let this go. We'll create some space. It's fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get the chickens and hens song, which is again very specifically threatening the teens in Cage, and then the night animatronic straight up impales Pompadour.
Well, and right before that, I don't know if you caught this. I only caught it my second watch. Is they go from saying 6 chickens and then they start singing about 5
chickens. Yeah, after he dies.
Okay.
Also,
No, it was right before he died.
Right
they
before.
were saying about 5 chickens, and then Nighty Night comes and stabs him.
I was about to say you got to put some spec on Nighty Night's name because it's a really good name.
And
Nighty Night,
Nighty Night, I think, probably has the highest body count outside of Cage in this.
Yeah, I think so.
No, Gator gets 2 for 1. We'll get there when we get there, right? So
yeah.
If only there was a website that tells me body counts, and that does exist.
Well, don't jump right into it because I want to get to the kills when we get to the kills.
That's fine.
So we have Pompadour who has been impaled, and Arsonist manages to knock over Nighty Night and tells the surviving teens to run. Cage, meanwhile, crushes another energy drink and plays some pinball because he is on break, and I fully agree with him that breaks should be respected. So
something me and OSHA have in common.
Yeah. Cut back to Bubblegum and her boyfriend, who are fucking mostly clothed in the super happy fun room. Glasses, unfortunately, gets cornered by Siren, and I think it's Chameleon. I'm not entirely sure because I wasn't able to make them. I wasn't as familiar with the animatronics when I was taking my notes at this point, but he's cornered by Siren and another animatronic. The arsonist fights with Nighty Night, and Cage continues to play pinball. Quirked up white boy runs and hides in the arcade and pulls out his cell phone and calls the sheriff's office. He tells the sheriff that they're at Willy's, and the sheriff hangs up on him. And when the state trooper asks what that was, she says it was a prank call. The phone rings again, and then it goes to voicemail, and Quirked Up White Boy mentions that Liv brought them there. So this causes the sheriff to jump into action. Then we cut back to Glasses, who is unfortunately murdered by Siren and the other animatronic. More pinball, more energy drinks. And now that his break is done, Cage goes out and just fucking manhandles Nighty Night. Just bashes him against the wall until he's mush and decapitates him with his own sword. He's covered in oil again at this point, and my notes just read, I hope he changes the shirt again. As soon as I had it, I was like, I hope he changes his t-shirt again.
Keep the gag going.
Bit. We cut back to Bubblegum and her boyfriend, and so they've noted this is a part that's like really ridiculous because they stop in the middle of having sex to notice that there's the fucking gator animatronic is just sitting in the corner, and she's like, was he always there? And our boyfriend's like, yeah, no, don't worry about it, keep going. And she's like, I'm pretty sure he's watching us. And he's like, well, then let's put on a show. What are you doing? Why do you keep stopping? So of course the crocodile animatronic just murders the shit out of the boyfriend, mutilates him real good. Bubblegum, covered in his blood, attempts to flee, and Cage and the arsonist hear her screams. They go to the super happy fun room and try and bust down the door. Eventually they get it down, and unfortunately they're too late to save Bubblegum. She got by Killer Croc as well. So Cage starts beating the shit out of the crocodile animatronic. Another solid fight scene here, and another movie reference with The Kill, in which he basically grabs the upper and lower jaw of the crocodile and tears it apart until it rips, a la King Kong versus some kind of dinosaur, if I'm remembering correctly, and then rips out the brain part of the animatronic, I guess. I don't know. He reaches into the mangled maw of this thing
Grabs
and
the
yanks
chip.
out some electronic part.
See, I'm trying to identify the slasher movie that this reminded me of specifically because, like, that jaw rip. Yeah, King Kong did that shit too. But there's like one really fucking visceral one. I can see it in my mind's eye, and I gotta find it.
I believe in you, Ryan.
I thought I lost you guys for a second there.
Yeah, no. I'm actually sorry. I was just trying to picture it because I think you're right. I know you're right, but I can't place it.
Oh, it's the Witchmaster. Dude, he grabs him like this and
Oh yeah. Yep. There you go.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I love a good unjawing in a horror movie.
Oh, it's always fun.
It's a
always fun.
very unsettling way to die.
I think there was a good one in The Fly too, if memory serves.
That tracks too.
Yeah, that's a very gooey movie, so that would totally track.
I mean, all of Cronenberg's movies are gooey.
They are. It's the goo that makes them good.
Not M. Butterfly. That one's just really horny.
I'm about to say, what's the one that's really gooey and the guy has a TV in his chest?
Videodrome. I fucking love Videodrome. Yeah.
I couldn't think of
and
the
fucking
name of it.
And Debbie Harry's all like, "Cut me while we have sex." Fucking love Videodrome. I might watch Videodrome tonight.
So, in the arcade, we get a better introduction to Chameleon, one of the animatronics. Chameleon stalks into the arcade, where QWB, as I'm referring to him in my notes, is hiding, and Chameleon's talking, has some things to say, explains that it's different than the other animatronics, and the other animatronics are mean to it, and it doesn't want to do this stuff. And Quirked Up White Boy is a fucking idiot, because he falls for it and comes out of hiding to try and reason with the murderous animatronic. What could possibly go wrong, right? We cut from there to the sheriff and the Stady on the way to Willy's, and the sheriff is explaining the issue with the animatronics. So it goes something like, she's like, have you used your service weapon? And he's like, in training. And she's like, well, I hope it was good training, because you're probably gonna have to use it. And he's like, it's a bunch of kids breaking and entering. I'm pretty sure we're not gonna have to put any of them down, which is a very funny line. But no, she explains, no, what happened is there's evil animatronics in there. And she explains that Tex did try and bulldoze Willy's after the animatronics killed some kids in front of everybody, like we said. But the crew that was supposed to bulldoze, and this is one of the most insane fucking throwaway bits of the lore that they drop on you, is the animatronics left Willy's, killed the crew that was supposed to bulldoze the place, and killed the crew's families as well. Which is insane.
I'd also like to point out that her talking about like possibly shooting the animatronics directly contradicts something. Like her characterization
all of the rest of her
later.
Actions.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. So after the bulldozing attempt failed, they tried to just quarantine the place, lock it down, and the machines just went out and killed people out in the town. So they started sending sacrifices into the place. Like, that was the deal they made. You don't kill people in town, we'll feed you people on occasion, drifters, people no one would miss. And it looks like they have a pretty slick system for this. They lay down the sheriff's zigzag spike strip, catch a drifter, do the whole trick them into working off the repairs to their cars, lock them in Willy's Wonderland, and then clean up the mess the next day. We also learn the deal with the sheriff and our little arsonist, Liv. Looks like, for some reason, one of the families that they put in Willy's Wonderland, Liv was a child that survived the night. The animatronics did not kill her. So the sheriff raised her. This is bizarre.
Yeah.
For a lot of reasons. So we cut back to Chameleon and QWB's conversation. Arsonist Liv runs in, and the Chameleon drops the act, wrapping its tongue around Quirked Up White Boy's neck and snapping it instantly.
I feel like that could have been shot better. Do it like one of those old timey tops where you have to wrap the rope around and do the fucking Beyblade ass flick to it.
Yeah, that would have
Yeah.
been way cooler.
That would have been way cooler.
Yeah, the one of the
Especially if his
primary
head popped off and then spun like a top.
one of the primary plot points of It Runs in the Family, right? The not widely known sequel to A Christmas Story. Did you guys ever watch that?
I
No.
thought are you talking about My Summer Story, the TV movie that they did about A Christmas Story like 4 years after the original movie, or was there another one that I'm not aware of?
There's another one that you're not aware
Oh.
of. They recast the dad with the dad from Beethoven, if I'm not mistaken.
Fucking
Oh,
weird.
the fucking Steve Martin knockoff. That's what he
He-
looks like to me. He's a Steve Martin knockoff.
Yeah, I see it. I definitely see it.
So I've got a weird digression about A Christmas Story and It Runs in the Family for you guys. So these are all movie adaptations of short stories written by Gene Shepard, if you're not aware. And Gene Shepard happens to be one of my dad's favorite authors, so I ended up reading.
It's fucking Kieran Culkin in that one.
I believe so.
Kieran fucking Culkin. How have I not seen this?
You might actually like it if you like the kind of storytelling from A Christmas Story. You'd probably like It Runs in the Family. It is just a little bit jarring if you were raised on Christmas Story to see all of these characters recast for the most part. But one of the major plot points is the kids get really into the original iteration of Beyblades, which was wooden tops that you wrapped a string around and whipped onto the ground, and they would spin and they'd fight with them.
Hell yeah.
And most of it, like, I have to
admit,
admit,
it's the same movie. We're thinking of the same movie that was different alternative titles in different regions, apparently.
Gotcha. Yeah, one of the main plot points is this the main kid, the kid from A Christmas Story's quest to find the best battle top. It doesn't go well for him. He gets a one from an open air Chinese market, I guess, that everybody makes fun of because it has roses painted on it. And then I think he eventually gets a real like bedazzled one with like little jewels and shit. Anyway,
yeah, roses are dope. Kids are stupid.
It's funny because gay.
That's basically how it goes.
Yeah, but every rose has its thorn.
If I remember, I haven't seen that movie in forever. I don't think it was as tone deaf as you'd expect something like that to be, even though the basis of the story was in the fucking 50s. But anyway, so yeah, there's our little digression there. I don't even know how because we wanted to see the head snap,
the head
like
snap
that.
off and then roll like a top. Yeah,
I'm about to say for that something like that, it's either that or Josh ate a peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah.
So
after the unceremonious death of our quirked up white boy teen, Cage squares up to fight with Chameleon, but as soon as he does, his watch starts beeping. And you know what that means? It's break time. And ain't nothing gonna get in the way of break time. So he stops, turns to Arsonist, gives her back the knife that he took from her earlier, and goes to play pinball and crush another energy drink. Arsonist tries to hold her own against Chameleon. It is not going well for her. But luckily, break time ends, and Cage goes back in and beats the shit out of Chameleon, slamming her back and forth between arcade games, and then wrapping, I guess, some like wire or rope around her neck and just dragging her through Willy's. They're stopped by Siren and the Turtle in the hallway, and Nick Cage just punches them both in the face. Like, it doesn't even slow him down. He just knocks him out. At the front door, which is now open, he is confronted by the sheriff, who holds him up with a shotgun. They march him back into Willy's, and the sheriff apologizes to Willy. She says, I'm sorry. This guy doesn't represent us. Go ahead, kill him. We'll go back to the deal. Don't take this out on the townsfolk. So they handcuff him in there and drag Liv the arsonist out. So and also at this point she's the only surviving teenager. If I'm keeping proper track.
Yeah.
There's a fun bit where Liv is like, you picked the wrong guy this time. You don't understand. He's not locked in here with them. They're locked in here with him.
They did the Rorschach.
They did the Rorschach.
They did the Rorschach, baby.
So outside of Willy's, the sheriff tells the
also, I'm sorry, but real quick, he's killed like 5 out of 8 of these. At what point does the town just start rooting for him?
That's another
they
insane
should
part
have, yeah.
that they just ignore. Is like he has been murdering the shit. He's been handling their problem in a way that looks so easy. It's insane that
right, like
group of small town people didn't just get together and stomp these fuckers to death.
Right, but like, okay, so I get
it's a
like
small
maybe
farming community. Everybody's got guns.
Maybe he kills 1 or 2, and they're just like, okay, shit, like they're gonna take this out on us. But once you kill like 4 or 5 of them, that like the townspeople got to be like, okay, this is our horse now. We got to back them.
The only thing that might make it make sense is that Willy's the big bad, and Willy is still in play.
Yeah. And Willy does pull like a fucking samurai movie single swipe moment there.
Yeah,
and it's great.
Willy is kind of terrifying, so that might explain it. Might. Outside, the sheriff tells the statey to take the arsonist to jail, put her in a cell, and come back and pick her up. In Willy's, Cage is cuffed and confronted by both Chameleon and Siren. He kicks backwards to hit the jukebox and start it playing, and Head, Shoulders, Knees, and Toes, the kids song, starts playing on the jukebox.
But it was like a rock remix kind of thing.
It was the Kids Bop version.
Yeah.
Unhinged Nick Cage head nodding here. Like,
actually, how good would it have been if most of the soundtrack was actually pulled from Kids Bop?
That would have been awesome, and they probably could have afforded it.
They probably could have, yeah.
Also, you missed the beginning of a joke that pays off in a little bit, which is when Chameleon, I forget which one says it, but they say, "How about a menage a trois?"
Oh yeah.
Because it pays off in about 30 seconds.
I think it was Siren who said that.
Okay. Because that joke does pay off.
Yeah.
So we cut back to the statey driving the arsonist back, and she's like telling him, she's like, you're complicit in all these murders, dude. Like, people are getting murdered. You're leaving that guy in there to get murdered. You're a bad guy. And so she finally manages to get through to him. And just as he's changing his mind, an animatronic hand comes in the window and starts choking him out. It looks like the turtle has hitched a ride on the roof of the car. And then we cut back into Willy's for the handcuffed Nick Cage versus Chameleon and Siren. And he is kicking the shit out of both of them while fully handcuffed. He ends up on top of Siren with her head between his thighs, which he twists and snaps her neck.
Looks like he's sitting on her face for a minute. That's the gag.
Yep. And then, having dealt with Siren, he stands up and snaps the handcuffs behind his back, demonstrating an absurd, inhuman level of strength. This is fucking crazy.
It's from the energy drinks.
It is. That's,
it's the same as PCP.
It's to
I didn't know
quote,
we'd like to get wet.
To quote a famous tweet, every man believes he could win any fight if he just goes beast mode hard enough. And that is exactly the way this movie chooses to go with Nick Cage's character. So he breaks the fucking cuffs and just twists Chameleon's head off. It's awesome. It's so good.
Maybe those energy drinks. Maybe he went to go see our friend Trevor Moore and just got a gallon of PCP.
They sell that by the gallon now?
Yeah. Oh, so like, how are your wife and kids? Oh, they're gone.
They're being held as collateral to a drug dealer who gave you a gallon of PCP. Yep. God, rip to a real one. So the arsonist faces off with the turtle animatronic with a shotgun. Unfortunately, the fucking turtle unloaded the shotgun at some point because he's got the fucking shells in his hand. I don't know when that fucking happened, but it did. Just roll with it, man.
It's a sly turtle.
A thinking man's movie. It's just a movie. It's there to entertain you. So,
and it does that in spades.
It does. The arsonist just decides to start clubbing the turtle with the shotgun and puts it down relatively easily. This girl is not filled with energy and rage and strength from 100 energy drinks consumed over the course of 3 hours. These animatronics are weaker than I think this whole town has been held hostage by weak ass psycho animatronics. This is embarrassing for this town.
Everybody's all flabby from eating Slim Jims like they're cigars.
I guess so. Meanwhile, the sheriff is nodding off in a truck outside of Willy's as Cage loads the recently deceased animatronics into bags, changes his shirt again. We got the changing. And gets back to cleaning, which is insane. The place looks great. He's got all of the chairs stacked on the table. It looks like a legitimate place of business, not a condemned, abandoned Chuck E. Cheese anymore. But ominously, only Willy is left on stage. The watch beeps again. It's break time, and you know what that means. Energy drinks and pinball, and this is the
dance party.
The best pinball scene in the entire fucking movie, and I'm going to describe it to you in explicit detail right after you listen to these ads.
Because it's break time for you too.
Yep. And we're back.
Break time's over, bitch.
Yep. Well, but not Nick Cage's. He is
having a ball.
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing, right? This has been done in a way that if you're not paying attention to it, you would have missed it. The break times are very important, perhaps the most crucial element of this film. And in them, when Cage starts playing the pinball game, he's not really good at it in the beginning. He loses repeatedly. He, expresses, not with words, his disappointment and frustration with the game. But this time he is in the zone. He is racking up the high score. It cranks up so high it goes into the negatives. That's how you know he won. And he is dancing while he does it. It is unhinged. His hair is flipping around and flopping around. It's a great fucking scene. And it ends with him thrusting his fist in the air victoriously, having defeated the Willy's Wonderland custom pinball game. But break time's over. Cage goes out and throws the trash bags filled with the dismembered animatronics into the dumpster, and eyeballs the sheriff who wakes up and is like, what the fuck is going on? And he heads back into Willy's. The sheriff holds him up with a shotgun, forces him inside. Willy, at this point, is conspicuously missing from the stage. She calls out to Willy to come and eat. This is all a big misunderstanding. This asshole, we didn't expect him to do all this, but here he is, free dinner, come and get it. And instead, we get one of the best scenes in the movie. Willy appears behind the sheriff and cuts her in fucking half with one swipe of his deadly paw. Her legs are still standing and blood is just gushing up. It looked like practical effects to me. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah, I think
I wish I paused
CGI.
it and zoomed it in, but it did not look like CGI right off the bat to me either.
It was fucking great. She is cut in half, and now the fight is on. The big fight, the boss fight between Cage, the janitor, in one corner, and Psycho Willy, the animatronic, in the other. And immediately in this fight, Nick Cage is knocked back into the big ol' "It's Your Birthday Party Time" button. And this sets off confetti cannons that are now fully loaded and functional, strobe lights, music, and Cage is not doing super great in this fight. Willy is whirling and slashing, cutting through that fresh Willy's Wonderland employee t-shirt, and slashing up Cage very badly. He ends up knocking Cage into the ball pit, and Cage does not resurface. Willy pauses briefly over the pool, and when Cage does not reemerge, he stalks away. However, we get that triumphant scene, the bloodied hand coming out of the ball pit and gripping the edge as Cage pulls himself out. he has survived. He goes, grabs his energy drinks from the refrigerator and puts them in a literal sack. That's what he carried them in with. It's just a burlap sack filled with energy drinks, as one is wont to carry around. And then he tapes together like two halves of the mop handle, like just together, like next to each other, and heads back out to confront Willy, where he starts beating the shit out of him with just a sack of energy drinks and taped up mop handles. And he bashes him good this time. Just keeps hitting him. Willy stumbles back, falls against the edge of the stage, and then just receives repeated blows to the head from a sack filled with full cans of just liquid caffeine, baby. Willy's head gets mangled, and then the coup de grace, Cage rips his head off of his body. And at this point, the sun has come up. Tex and the tow truck driver are outside in the parking lot with
doing
Cage's
donuts.
freshly fixed Camaro.
Yeah.
Tex goes up to the door and notes that the chain and padlock are off the door and laying on the ground. At this point, we cut to a shot inside the dumpster, and Siren claws her way out of one of these trash bags. Turns out the thigh neck snap was just not powerful enough to put her down for good. Back to Tex, he goes inside and sees that the place is super clean.
Immaculate, even.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely transformed. Siren is lurking around by the dumpsters. And here is where we learn where all of their licensed music money went in this budget, as Freebird. Yes, that Freebird.
Fucking cowards didn't even play the full song. They didn't even play the full radio edit.
You wanted the full 13-minute song?
Yeah.
There wasn't that many minutes left in the movie at this point.
Play fucking Freebird, you play the whole song. I don't even like Leonard Skinner, and I know that much.
So Cage walks out of the back, to the utter shock of the tow truck driver and Tex. Walks up to Tex and holds out his hands, and Tex hands over the keys to Cage's car, and Cage walks out. At this point, the arsonist has managed to walk back to Willy's, and the janitor and her share a look. He gets into his car, and arsonist Liv climbs into the passenger seat. Cage cranks the radio, which is where Freebird is playing from. You know, it's not just the soundtrack, it's actually being played in the film.
Good diegetic music. Yeah.
Love when they do that. And peels out of the parking lot. Tex and the tow truck driver are in shock and awed that this drifter has solved this murderous animatronic problem this town has had for forever. They're so excited. Tex says they need to go out and celebrate, and he is buying. There's also a fucking hilarious scene where they just share this like laughing back and forth. I can't describe it in a way that does it justice. I think.
Did you mention fucking Tex's hood ornament? Because I think we got to talk about that.
Steer horns.
It's this big steer horns. Yeah.
Yeah. His car is it's a Cadillac, I think, right? It looks like a fucking
so.
Well, yeah, and there is a throwaway line too when the tow truck driver asks him, "How many cars does this make for you?" So I'm assuming he's just reselling cars and making a profit that way.
Yeah. No. He says another one for the collection when he takes the keys.
Yeah. The toys, another toy for the collection, right?
Yeah.
So they're going out to get drinks, and Tex is buying. And they share an unhinged laughing scene, which is perfect. It's like a fucking cartoon. And they get into Tex's car. Unfortunately, Siren shows up and blows the car up, having shoved a rag in their gas tank and lighting it with one of the lighters that was left laying around from the kids' failed plan to burn the place to the ground. The car blows up. It looks like Siren gets taken out too. She's blown clear from the vehicle.
According to the Wikipedia, this is what kills her.
That makes sense. I'm still holding out hope for a sequel.
I mean, there's one in the works, apparently.
Really? That would be awesome.
Yeah, hang on for a minute. I gotta go back because I went on a diatribe. I tried looking up Beethoven.
So while you're looking it up, I'll finish. I'll close out our scenes here. So Cage and Liv are on the road, and Cage cracks an energy drink, goes to chug it in one go as he does, but hesitates and hands it over to our little arsonist Liv instead. As they're driving, they see the turtle animatronic on the road, who apparently wasn't quite beaten to death by that unloaded shotgun, and they just pancake him with the Camaro, and his bits scatter over the road. And then we get the Ryan. What's the transition where like the black just circles out? It circles out. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. The Looney Tunes transition, but
yeah.
I let me see if there's an actual term for that because I don't know if off the top of my head.
Dad, there's more things than a star wipe.
Not when you're making a PowerPoint. It's all star wipes, baby.
It's all star wipe, yeah. or when you're making a dating video for Ned Flanders.
There you go.
Star wipe.
Yeah, and as Turtle's pieces scatter on the road, we end up with our credits, and that is the end of Willy's Wonderland. A good film.
Yeah, okay. I admit I was wrong.
This was super entertaining, and I'm gonna try and draw a comparison here because in my opinion, and I'd like to hear what you guys think of this. This is the horror comedy version, or rather, this film is to horror comedy as
It's an iris transition.
An iris transition.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie is to horror comedy what Shoot 'em Up is to action films.
Yes.
It is cartoon logic applied to a live action film in a way that actually works. It's fucking funny. It's very self-aware. It utilized a bunch of, fresh-faced actors and actresses who did a great job, in my opinion.
Ah, yes, that fresh-faced Beth Grant.
Well, except Beth Grant and Nick Cage were like the entirety of the casting budget, which is crazy. We have Cage not speaking a single word of dialogue in the entirety of the film,
which is wild.
Funny. It would have been funnier if there was a single fuck that he utters in the entire movie, like just whispers it.
They committed.
I know they committed.
Hard. And one of the theories that we had, we weren't able to confirm or deny this in any way, but if I'm not mistaken, there is a bit about royalties for films that require a certain amount of spoken lines to secure this higher payout. It's the reason why Peter Benchley is specifically in Jaws as a news reporter that gets panned by across as on one of the beach scenes. He wrote that in specifically so he could get those royalties. So I'm curious, but our theory is that Nick Cage fully leaned into the no speaking role bit so they could actually afford him for this, and this movie might actually make some of the people involved in its creation some money.
Well, this was also made by Nick Cage's production company, Saturn Films. Well, it was one of.
Oh, that's awesome.
This thing had like 7 production companies.
That tracks.
That does track. But yeah, this was way better than I anticipated it being. I had a lot of fun watching it.
Yeah, the second viewing for me, I did enjoy it. I still have a ton of like tiny quarrels with it, but not enough that I could call it a bad movie at this point.
Right.
Hey, like considering what they were working with and how much of a legitimate basic first swing at screenwriting this is, fucking bravo. This was a solid first hit. I would watch something else put together by these people. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little bit worried in the first couple of scenes. The opening was incredibly hokey, but again, the whole tenor of the film is I'm going to watch it again. I'll probably watch it a couple of times. This is going to go in my horror rotation for sure. but it's so self-aware in so many parts of the movie that the bits that bothered me on first watch, I think I'm going to be in on the joke the second time around, and enjoy it even more. I can't point at any one of the things that I had a problem with and say specifically that they weren't literally laughing at themselves, making a bit of a meta commentary about the kind of movie that they were making.
Yeah.
Because like all of the nods to the horror movie tropes that we went over already in these films, you even got a final girl, the single survivor of the teens. And the whole bit was hilarious and entertaining. This is one of the ones that we've covered on this podcast that I highly recommend watching. Even if you've heard us go through the whole bit, that's not the entertainment value from this movie. It isn't the story, it's the absurdity and witnessing it yourself. Very, very entertaining. So Ryan is
I was wrong, I admit it.
Appropriately ashamed of his knee-jerk reaction to his first viewing, and has come around and learned to love the Willy.
Yeah, that's true. I honestly think I would have liked it more if I had noticed that they used straight up cartoon sound effects multiple times in the movie on my first viewing. Because you get a couple of good bonks. You get like that one sound that sounds like somebody dropped a bowling ball on a trampoline. Good Foley work.
The handcuff fight scene, I mean, like all of the bits, it just kept doubling down on what it was doing. The exposition dumps, because there's multiple ones of them where they're just like, nothing needs to be left up to your imagination. Here's what's going on and why. And they super concentrate it too, instead of drawing it out, and trying to take itself more seriously.
You get like a 5-minute exposition and then a 2-minute exposition, and that's it.
Yeah, they do.
And it tells everything.
It's funny. It's like Mac's understanding of plot lines. It's like, if we don't do this big exposition here, the viewer's not going to understand what they're watching.
Yeah.
It's just it's good. It's way better than it had any right being. It's the biggest drawback of it is that it seemed to be aping the concept of Five Nights at Freddy's, which is a game I've never played, and I don't understand people's fascination with it.
And it's apparently not the case, because the script was finished before the game came out.
Which is fantastic. I am so glad you found that tidbit, Ryan, because that made me feel even better about this movie. It's a good movie. It's a good, weird, stupid film, and I feel like we should make more movies like this. I mean, not us, but people.
Not us. I mean, maybe us. You guys want to make a movie?
Not particular.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, no, that seems like a lot of work.
It seems like so much work, and I don't even know all the names of the scene transitions. How's this gonna happen?
Yeah.
But no, it did make me happy that this was not a Five Nights at Freddy's knockoff
Cash grab. Yeah,
especially when I found out the dude who made that game is canceled to all hell.
Oh yeah, that's true. He like gives a lot of his money to right-wing organizations, shit like that.
Bizarre,
isn't it though?
All right, we need to know what's next.
We already know what's next.
I mean, we know what's next. We need to let you all know what's next.
It's going to be a bad week for me.
It's going to be a really good week for us.
Yeah.
Yes,
excluding Rich, of course.
I'm going to hate my life. We're going to watch Mandy.
Oh, so good. It fucking
rules. I've been waiting for Mandy. That
I am going to be miserable. I'm going to be dreading watching this movie.
This movie's as sweet as candy, man.
Listen, Rich, I will tell you this. It does contain one of the most unhinged Nick Cage scenes in all of Nick Cage's filmography.
It's also got Cheddar Goblin.
It's got a chainsaw fight.
It's got a chainsaw fight.
I do like a chainsaw fight.
It opens with Starless by fucking King Crimson. Ooh. Great needle drop on the opening.
So, yeah, and viewers, if you're not aware, Mandy, this was one of those films that was met with critical praise,
universal critical praise.
Right. This was one of the films that did we decide that this is the fourth Age of Cage that is currently going on?
Yeah. Because you have early Cage, you've got Superstar Cage, then you have Tax Problem Cage, and then you have the Cage Assaults, the Cage Renaissance.
The Cage Assaults.
Right, and this is a part of that. This is a part of the fourth Age of Cage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
this
part
is
of the Cage of Souls.
yeah, this is where you had him doing like movies that were weird but received very well.
Right, like Mandy, Pig.
Yeah.
I'm really
The
excited
movie
for
that he
Pig.
played himself.
Yeah,
Incredible weight
of massive talent.
Yeah.
Massive talent. Yeah, he really swung back hard, and it's good to know that we're not so far removed from him doing shit like Willy's Wonderland, which you wouldn't expect when he's landing, major well-received movies. He does something goofy like this.
He's still putting out goofy shit.
Yeah, I love the goofy shit.
Yeah, so do I.
Hold on, there was some shit that I saw that I'm just like,
The
he's putting out some
film.
Well, there's that, but I was gonna say he's putting out some what seems like Sympathy for the Devil looks like kind of
that's like a mid-range horror joint.
Not
it
goofy.
Looks like
that's the one with Kinnaman in it, right?
I think so. Yeah,
I want to watch that too.
That looks good. Fucking Butcher's Crossing looks like a solid horror western.
Fucking The Retirement Plan is a reunion with Nick Cage and Ron Perlman, and it's Nick Cage looking exactly like he did in the fucking Russell Brand movie.
Army of One.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
recently canceled Russell Brand.
Oh yeah, shit. We got that one in just under the wire, huh?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
we still talked shit on Russell Brand.
Well, yeah, because he's fucking stupid.
He's still a crazy stupid person, and like when all this came out, like how there's some people you're just like, oh my god, I would have never expected. With Russell Brand,
nobody was.
I just went snap, called shot, boom.
Actually, Ryan, I meant to send you. I don't think I sent you the clip. Did you ever see him being interviewed simultaneously with David Lynch?
No.
And the interviewer
That's
goes,
a special treat for me.
The interview goes, would you guys ever like work on a project together? And David Lynch is like, no, absolutely not. Immediately, like no hesitation. He's like, no. And Russell Brand like has to try and bring it. He's like, well, that complicates my answer because I was gonna say yes. But yeah, Lynch is like, no fucking David way, Lynch. Dude.
It's because David Lynch knows how to make a fucking movie.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He knows about that intense ethereal whooshing sound.
Even though I don't think he's made a movie in like 10 years.
He considered the Twin Peaks Return an 18-hour movie. The third season. Yeah, he did. He fucking showed it at a theater 18 fucking straight hours.
Jesus Christ. I hope they had an intermission.
I think they did each episode had a 15-minute intermission after it because they're like hour-long episodes.
Oh, so you're at the theater for 20 hours.
Yeah, basically.
That's insane.
That's something Ryan would do.
I would have fucking I'd have a catheter put in. Show wearing one of those beer hats with the straws, all cathed up. I ain't moving for 20 hours.
All right. Well, another hidden gem down. We've got Mandy next, which we know is going to be a fucking banger. And it'll be interesting to see how much it made Rich upset when we cover that one. We'll have to have Rich give us his top 3 most uncomfortable moments in the film. Hold me to that one, because that's gonna be tough for him to fucking parse out. I think I can already think of at least one that's gonna make the top 3 for him.
Oh shit!
Yeah. It's okay. It is a good movie, Rich. And like I said, you will love one of the most unhinged Nick Cage scenes you will ever have the pleasure of seeing. It's one of the best.
I mean, that makes me happy.
Yeah. So unfortunately it happens really early on in the film, so you're not gonna have too much to look forward to after that. But hey, that's enough about Mandy. We will cover that in the next episode, so be sure to tune in. While you're waiting for that, you can of course find us on social media. Facebook for uncles and people who think we're Nick Cage, X at cagefight_pod if you're still on that dog shit dying website. We do have a Patreon. The $1 tier is going to get rid of all of those pesky ads, all 2 of them each episode that you have to listen to.
Yeah, but it's like 3 in a row, so it's like 6 ads, and then there's ads at the beginning too, so it's like you're cutting out like 9 ads.
It's a lot of value for your dollar. It's insane. We should be losing money on this deal, right? But we're willing to do that for you.
Just for you, not anyone else.
Just the one listening to this right now. You're special. You're not like all those other listeners. But no, definitely subscribe. Give us $1, and you won't have to listen to ads. Higher tiers get you more stuff, like full uncut episodes, early access to them as well. And there's some other fun stuff in there. And also, I have to remind you guys, if enough of you give us $1, Ryan has to subject himself to the mental torture of learning how to hit the top score in speed running a GeForce video game.
Every GeForce video game.
Every single one. This will be his Willy's Wonderland pinball conquering moment. And
we're still coming for you, Chris Gamer.
I'll do the dance.
I expect you 100% to do the dance the first time you break that record. And then we got to see if that YouTube channel that covers speedrun history in video games.
Summoning Salt. I love that guy.
I like Summoning Salt.
Yeah.
It would be great to get to an episode there. That
just did the fucking Super Mario 5-2 video he did was really good.
I just throw them on occasion just because it's a nice mini documentary and I learn a lot.
Yeah, and I really enjoy
at least a couple
90-minute long YouTube videos.
Yeah, I was gonna say a couple of them are feature-length documentaries. Mm-hmm. He's got a few smaller ones, but yeah, a decent amount are 90+ minutes.
Like like whenever a new H Bomber Guy video drops, I'm just like, hell yeah, new movie.
Hell yeah, I love a new movie.
All right, that's gonna do it for us, folks. Thank you.
I didn't get the Patreon name. It's patreon.com/Nick Cage Fight.
That's pretty recognizable. Easy to remember. I like it.
Yeah. Nice. And also I wanted to let listeners know after the Mandy episode, we may be Joshless for an episode or two. So it'll be me and Ryan having to hold things down.
I've got some ideas. I had an idea the other day of something that we could do as a little spin-off.
Okay. I'm ready for it.
I'm excited to see what you guys come up with. Also, don't worry about my health or anything like that. I'm getting married, and we'll just need to focus on making sure that goes well before I get back to regaling you all with tales of Nick Cage fight movies that you could easily get and watch yourself. But it's difficult to do that while driving to your job and stuff. So that's a primary
that's why
niche that we're filling for you.
Yeah, like we have to make some choices here, and it's like, all right, Josh still has to work, has to get married. I guess this whole Nick Cage fight thing can take a couple weeks off, and Ryan and I can figure it out
for us. Yeah,
just a brief break, and I promise I will be back. But as always, thank you, for tuning in, listening to us babble on about Amaretto and Nick Cage fighting animatronics. And join us next time for when we're covering Mandy. Super excited for that. So let me just leave you with this. Listeners, please remember that we appreciate you.
'Cause I'm free as bye-bye now.